Yesterday, Sayadaw explained the seventh noble wealth, Sutta, the wealth or the knowledge or learning. So there are two kinds of sutta, the Agama Sutta and Adhigama Sutta, the learning and learning knowledge or empirical knowledge. So when based on your learning or knowledge or the scriptures, knowledge or the correct practice, you put your knowledge into practice until you attain mega phala. Then you attain the Adhigama Sutta, the Sutta which is generated by the mega phala enlightenment. At the moment of the Vipassana insight, you can reduce mental defilements to some extent. So there are two kinds of the mental defilements in terms of their functions. So you can overcome those two kinds of mental defilements in Vipassana and Mega enlightenment respectively. So first of all, the Aramana Nusaya. Aramana Nusaya means the mental defilements, or the dormant mental defilements, which lie dormant in the particular object that you fail to observe. There is a possibility of the mental defilements or the dormant mental defilements in the particular object which you fail to observe. That type of possibility of mental defilements or the latent mental defilement is called Aramana Nusaya. And another kind of the Nusaya mental defilements or the latent defilement is called Santana Nusaya, which the mental defilements which lie dormant in our mental process life after life. So in terms of this, their function, there are two kinds of the dormant form of the mental defilements. So when we experience these sense objects like seeing, hearing, etc., if we cannot note seeing or hearing, so a type of possibility or mental defilement is there. Mental defilements may lie dormant in that particular object which we fail to note. If we cannot note an object, definitely we cannot know the true phenomena, mind and body. And then we are definitely identifying the seeing or hearing with someone or somebody. So then there is the delusive sense or the atta or ego take place. And also we cannot see the causality and relativity. Then there will be wrong view or the no cause. We don't believe in any cause. Everything rising and passing away at random. So that type of wrong view is called Ahetuka Deity. And as a result of this wrong view, we may believe in the God or Creator, the wrong cause, Visama Hetu Deity. So if we cannot see the impermanence, then definitely the delusive sense of the permanence will lie dormant in that particular object. If we cannot see unsatisfactoriness in the object, then the delusive sense or the pleasure will be deep-seated in that particular object. In the same way, we cannot see the egolessness or the phenomena, then the delusive sense or the ego and atta will lie dormant in that particular object. So that type of dormant defilements called an Anapana Nusaya, the defilements which lie dormant in a particular object which we cannot observe, which we fail to observe. So if we can see the true phenomena of mind and the body by observing them the moment they take place, then there will be no room for such a such kind of dormant mental defilements. In this way we can overcome, we can get rid of this type of dormant defilements, and this Anapana Nusaya kilesa. So we must observe, we must note an object the moment it takes place, so that we can prevent the possibility of mental defilements from lying dormant in that particular object. When we develop Vipassana insight until we attain Magga-phala enlightenment, then there will be no room at all for any kinds of mental defilements. So in this way we can overcome latent or dormant mental defilements which can deep-seated in our heart or mental process. So this type of mental or dormant defilement is called Anapana Nusaya, the possibility or the mental defilements. So if we cannot attain the corresponding Magga-phala enlightenment, then there is a chance for corresponding mental defilements to take place. That type of chance is called Upajjanaraha, the chance for mental defilements to take place. As long as we cannot get rid of mental defilements through the Magga-phala enlightenment, there is always a chance for mental defilements to take place. There is always possibility of the mental defilements, and that's called Upajjanaraha. That kind of mental defilement is called the Sandana Nusaya, the mental defilements which lie dormant in our mental process, life after life. So there are the two kinds of the dormant form of the mental defilements and their functions. So based on our learning or knowledge, we practice the Satipatthana meditation, observing whatever object occurring to us from moment to moment, and then we can we can stop the first kinds of mental defilements, the dormant form of the mental defilements. When we accomplish our insight knowledge until we attain Magga enlightenment, then we can eradicate the corresponding form of the mental defilements once and for all. At the moment of the Vipassana insight, we can overcome mental defilements to some extent from moment to moment. That's a momentary, moment-to-moment eradication of the mental defilements, not uprooting them. But at the moment of the Magga enlightenment, certain kinds of the Magga corresponding kinds of the Magga can uproot the corresponding kinds of the mental defilements once and for all. For example, Sotapaddi Magga, first kinds of Magga, it can uproot the three kinds of the mental defilements: deity, wrong view or the ego belief, vicikiccha, the skeptical doubts, and Silabbata Paramasa, the wrong view or the right and ritual. And also it can get rid of the extreme kinds of the mental defilements which can lead us to the woeful lives. Pali is called Apaya Gamliya. So as a Sotapanna, he has not a very strong mental defilements, extreme kinds of the mental defilements which can which encourage him to commit evil deeds like killing, stealing, etc. So in this way, corresponding mega enlightenment can get rid of corresponding mental defilements and corresponding from all the dormant mental defilements. So in this way, you can accomplish two kinds of the knowledge, intellectual knowledge or the empirical knowledge. Both when you accomplish both, then you can overcome all kinds of form of the mental defilements. So Sayadaw would like to explain in detail with the example for your better understanding. So as an example, Sayadaw gives you take the type of the disease, epidemic, for example, epidemic disease, which is easily spread from one to another, easily and rapidly. That type of disease is very horrible. In Buddha time also there are particular kinds of the disease, epidemic, called Hivada. So this disease is spread to one another from one to another very rapidly, just like a wind, through the wind, just like a snake poison, a very dangerous epidemic disease. So such type of disease, all we can do is we have to prevent ourselves from being infected. That's all we can do. And then another form of the mental disease is not that horrible, but it's curable. So we have to prevent, if possible. If we cannot prevent, if we are infected, we need to cure it as soon as possible. So there are very small kinds of diseases, and we have to make great effort, any kinds of disease, small or big, anyway. So in the same way, there are many forms of the mental defilements compared to those kinds of diseases. So to overcome these three kinds of the mental defilements, we have to develop Vipassana. Through the Vipassana insight, we can overcome certain kinds of the symptoms of the disease through the Samadhi, or through the Vipassana insight, or through the Mega. So the corresponding mental defilements can be overcome. So first of all, we need to make mental defilements weaker and weaker through the Vipassana insight until we attain Mega enlightenment. At the moment of Mega enlightenment, we can uproot certain kinds of the mental defilements once and for all. So otherwise, there will be possibility of mental defilements. That possibility is called upajjana, the possibility of mental defilements. When the conditions are favorable, they can take place anytime, anywhere. So we have to prevent, we have to take our best. Their conditions should not be met. So that their conditions should not be met, they cannot take place. So that's the Vipassana practice. By observing objects from moment to moment, we can prevent mental defilements from coming into existence. So the mental defilements, they can take place only when the conditions are favorable. That means that the conditions is not favorable. Conditions are not favorable, they cannot take place. So by practicing Vipassana meditation, we can prevent the condition from being favorable. for them. So in this way, as mentioned last time, we can overcome the transgressive form or the mental defilement through the sila, morality, and the active form of mental defilement is through the concentration, and then the dormant form of mental defilement is overcome through the Vipassana insight and the mega enlightenment. So compared to the several kinds of the diseases, these mental defilements are also to be prevented from coming into existence. Or when they come into existence, we have to make great effort to overcome, or by observing them the moment they take place. In this way, we can cure or we can prevent the disease of mental defilement from infections, and or we can overcome when they take place by observing them. So there are three kinds of forms of the mental defilement, as mentioned earlier. The first one is the Vitekama Kilesa, the transgressive form of the mental defilement. According to the craving or greed, we may commit evil deeds such evil deeds as the stealing or cheating or sexual misconduct. Going after the dosa, the mental defilements or aversion, we may commit killing or cruelty and so on. And there are also a type of the active form of mental defilement, and that mental defilement takes place only in the mind, not physically or verbally. These are covetousness, ill will, and wrongdoing. So another form of mental defilement is the Anusaya Kilesa, dormant form of the mental defilement. It's difficult to understand this mental defilement, so Sayadaw gives you a lot of examples. The dormant form of mental defilement can be compared with the dormant form of the fire. Just like the match, there is when you rub with a matchstick and with something, the fire come out. In view of the flame coming out, we can realize there is the dormant form or the latent form of the fire exists in the match, in the mud. So that is can be compared to the dormant form or the mental defilement. When we rub it to somewhere, the fire come out. That can be compared to the active form or the mental defilement. Then the flame spread here and there, burning this and that. So that form of the flame is compared to the transgressive form of the mental defilement. So in the same way, with the lighter, there is a substance to rub and for the fuel to burn up. As long as you rub it, there is no fire come out. When you rub it, the fire come out. That means there is a fire, a seed of fire. I mean the latent form of the fire exists in the enlightenment. So that can be compared to the latent form of the mental defilement. Another example Sayadaw gives is a magnifier, a type of the microscope. When you put it under the sun, the microscope under the sun, and beneath that you may put a paper, and the sun is highly concentrated through the magnifier until the paper caught burned by the fire. So initially you cannot find any type of fire anywhere. I mean in the magnifier or no paper. There is no fire in the paper or magnifier. But their combination arouse give rise to the fire. So that means there is latent or dormant form of the fire exists. There exists. That can be compared to dormant form of the mental defilements. So another example Sayadaw gives is sleeping. Somebody is sleeping, having sound sleep. So at the moment of the sound sleep, there is no full consciousness, only subconsciousness take place, no active form of the consciousness. That can be compared to the dormant form of the mental defilements. So when somebody waking up, he may become awake, then the consciousness take place. That can be compared to the active form of the mental defilement. When he alert and active and doing this or that, that can be compared to the transgressive form of the mental defilement. So in this way, there are three forms of the mental defilement should be understood. By practicing Vipassana meditation, you can overcome step by step the three forms of the mental defilement. So there are several kinds of the wrong views to overcome to the first level of enlightenment, Sotapadimagga. First of all, Atta Ditti, the wrong view of the ego belief, and it's also called Sakkaya Ditti, the wrong view which identifies the mind and the body with the ego. So this type of wrong view is called Atta Ditti and Sakkaya Ditti. So for your general knowledge, Sayadaw explained the Atta, ego. So Atta, ego is described by some people as the source of the knowledge, or source of the wisdom. So Atta, ego is the source of the wisdom and knowledge. So that means all kinds of the mental activities belong to the Atta. For example, seeing, hearing, smelling, and these sense activities are also controlled by the Atta. So whatever activity you do, going, standing, or bending, stretching, whatever activity you do, they are performed by the Atta. So thus, Atta, ego is of two kinds, Jiva Atta and Parama Atta. So Jiva Atta means individual soul. Parama Atta is translated as supreme Atta, supreme soul, supreme ego. So that Parama Atta, supreme ego, is described as Isra. That means he controls the whole universe. So whether the animate or inanimate, or cognitive or not cognitive, whatever it may be, the whole universe is controlled by the supreme Atta, supreme soul. So our life and death is determined by this supreme Atta, supreme soul. And it also honors as a Ekowa, unique. It's the only unique Atta for the whole universe. And it's also described as Sukha, Dukkha, Rahito. That Supreme Atta has no pleasure or pain, no Sukha or Dukkha. And it also described as no form. It has no form. So these are all descriptions of the Supreme Atta. So Jiva Atta is described which spread the whole body, the individual atta. The whole body is constituted of this individual atta, jiva atta, which is under control of the Parama atta, supreme atta. But it also said this jiva atta has several forms according to the animal, according to the living being. So, for example, the elephant is big size. So the atta, individual soul, is inside the big, in proportion to the size of the living being. So the atta, individual atta, can be described in the size in several ways. And another qualities of the atta they mention is vibhu, that means controlling faculty, is control every senses, each and every function of the senses, seeing, hearing, and so on. So every function of the senses are under control of the supreme atta or the individual atta. And another quality of the atta they mention is the nature, that means perpetual or permanent. It's everlasting. Although our physical body is destroyed, the atta soul is never destroyed. It's everlasting, perpetual. So these are all descriptions of the two kinds of the atta. So only when you attain the first level of the enlightenment Sotapatti Mega, you can overcome such a wrong view, ego belief. So when you see the cause and effect, the law of cause and effect, that you can reduce the Parama-atta belief in Parama-atta to certain level, but you cannot get rid of it. Only when you attain the Sotapatti Mega, the first level of enlightenment, you can uproot these all kinds of the ego beliefs. So before Buddha, this ego belief, wrong view of the atta, was very deep-seated in the people's heart. When the Buddhas appeared in the world, the Buddha explained the anatta, and then he taught us how to practice Vipassana meditation, through which we can see the mind and the body, and their causality, and then their impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and egolessness. So Buddha revealed his discovery of the truth to us. So all we need to do is to observe whatever is happening to us from moment to moment. When we can distinguish between the mind and the body, we can reduce the ego belief, the wrong view of the individual atta to some extent. And then when we see the causality and the conditionality of the phenomena, we can subside the wrong view of the Creator, wrong view of the Parama-atta, Supreme Atta. So when we experience impermanence, when we realize impermanence, we can overcome delusive sense of the permanence. When we see suffering and unsatisfactoriness of the phenomena, we can reduce the delusive sense of the pleasure. When we find the all mental and physical phenomena are only mental and physical phenomena, not atta or ego involved, then we can overcome the delusive sense of the atta or ego. So in this way we can overcome the wrong view or Ocheda deity or Sassata deity, the wrong view which is belief there is no life after death. And also there is another type of opposite kinds of wrong view is there is perpetual ego or soul, which is everlasting. So that's called Sattva Deity. So two kinds of deity can be overcome through the Sotapatti Magga. So in this way, based on your learning, you can try your best to attain the Magga-phala enlightenment, which is called Adhikama Sutta, the knowledge born of the Magga-phala enlightenment. So that's called the Suttadana, the noble work of the knowledge. And through the Suttadana, you can give up the mental defilement. That's called Jagadana, the giving up mental defilements. And when your insight knowledge are fulfilled, you attain the Ariya Magga, the noble enlightenment, and along with the wisdom and knowledge. That's called Paṇḍitā, the wealth of the wisdom. So in this way, through the learning or knowledge, you can gain all kinds of the noble work. It's all kinds of 7 kinds of the noble work. So these noble work are passed down from the Buddha. These are noble heritage passed down from the Buddha. To receive such a noble work, we cannot be lazy. Lazy people, hesitant people cannot worthy of such a noble heritage, noble work. So we must make great effort. We must practice ardently. We must be alert all the time so that we can catch objects from moment to moment. So in this way we can become worthy of the noble heritage passed down by the Buddha. So considering the nobility of this heritage, we can boost up our energy and viriya. So that's consideration of the nobility of the Buddha's heritage is one of the cause of the viriya. So our time is up. That's all for today. Sadhu, 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 sadhu.